The repair shop sat in the lower levels of Station Hanul 7, squeezed between a food vendor and a parts dealer. The sign outside flickered in 3 languages, but most people just called it Day One's place. Inside, the small room overflowed with broken machines, scattered tools, and half-finished projects that covered every surface. Day One wiped grease from his hands and studied the navigation unit on his workbench. The Tarsian merchant who owned it said 5 other engineers had failed to fix it. That made Day One smile. He loved impossible repairs. There was something satisfying about making broken things work again. He was 32 years old, average height for a human, with tired eyes that came from too many late nights fixing machines. His shop was small and messy, but his customers knew he could repair almost anything. Even the aliens who looked down on humans admitted that Day One had a gift. The door chimed. Day One looked up and saw a small figure standing in the doorway. She was young, maybe 10 or 11 years old, though it was hard to tell with aliens. Her skin glowed with a soft silver light, and her large eyes were the color of deep space. She belonged to the Velian species, those tall, graceful beings who usually avoided the lower levels of the station. But this girl didn't look graceful. She looked scared. She clutched something round against her chest, and her hands were shaking. "Please," she said in broken Coalition standard. "Please help." Others say no. "You are last." Day One set down his tools and walked over. The girl held out what she was carrying. It was a spherical robot about the size of a basketball, covered in dented metal plating. Lights flickered weakly across its surface, and it made a sad buzzing sound. "What happened to it?" Day One asked gently. "Nabi is sick," the girl said. Tears ran down her silver cheeks. "Nabi is dying. I asked 6 engineers. They say is too old. They say is progenitor machine. They say is cursed. But Nabi is my friend. Only friend." Day One felt his chest tighten. He knew about progenitor technology. The progenitors were an ancient civilization that vanished thousands of years ago. Their machines were legendary, but Coalition law said possessing their technology was illegal. Most people feared progenitor artifacts, claiming they were dangerous or cursed. "What's your name?" Day One asked. "Hana," the girl whispered. "Okay, Hana. Let me see Nabi." He took the sphere carefully. It was heavier than it looked, and the metal was warm to the touch. Up close, he could see designs etched into the plating that didn't match any technology he knew. The craftsmanship was incredible, far beyond what any Coalition species could create. Day One carried Nabi to his workbench and cleared a space. Hana followed, watching with desperate hope in her eyes. "Tell me about Nabi," Day One said as he connected diagnostic cables. "I find Nabi in ruins near my home," Hana said. "After raiders come. After they kill my parents and destroy colony. I am alone, but then I find Nabi. Nabi talks to me, keeps me company, helps me survive. We come here together, but now Nabi is getting weaker every day." The girl's story made Day One's heart hurt. He understood loneliness. He understood what it meant to have only one friend in the universe. "I'll do what I can," he promised. His diagnostic scanner struggled to read Nabi's systems. The architecture was completely alien, using principles that shouldn't work according to Coalition science. Power cores that operated on quantum states, memory systems that existed in multiple dimensions at once, processing units that seemed almost alive. The damage was severe. 3 of the 7 power cores had failed completely. The memory matrices were corrupted, losing data every second. The quantum processors were burning out from trying to maintain critical functions without enough power. Most engineers would have given up immediately. The technology was too advanced, too strange, too different from anything they understood. But Day One had learned long ago that every machine, no matter how alien, followed certain basic principles. Everything needed power, processing, and purpose. He started working, talking quietly to himself as he always did. "Okay, Nabi, let's see what we can do. Your power system is failing, but maybe we can reroute around the dead cores. Your memory is corrupted, but if we stabilize the quantum field..." Hana watched silently, afraid to hope. Hours passed. Day One forgot about the other repairs waiting in his shop. He forgot about food, about time, about everything except the dying machine in front of him. He tried techniques no Coalition engineer would attempt, making intuitive leaps that defied standard procedures. He replaced a burnt quantum relay with a modified human component that shouldn't have worked but somehow did. He created bridges between failing systems using principles he half understood and half invented on the spot. He talked to Nabi constantly, as if the machine could hear him explaining what he was doing and why. Something strange started happening. Nabi's systems began responding to his touch. The adaptive code inside the machine started repairing itself, following patterns Day One created. It was as if the AI was learning from him, understanding his methods and helping with its own repair. Data flashed across his screens, mathematical equations he'd never seen before, star charts showing places he couldn't identify, blueprints for machines that seemed impossible. The information appeared for just a moment, then vanished, but each flash told him he was on the right track. The station lights dimmed as evening came. Day One's back ached and his eyes burned from staring at screens, but he kept working. He could feel Nabi stabilizing, feel the ancient machine pulling back from the edge of death. Finally, after 6 hours of continuous work, Day One made the last connection. He held his breath and activated the repaired power system. Nabi's lights flickered once, twice, then blazed steady and strong. The sphere hummed with renewed energy, and the patterns on its surface glowed with colors that seemed to shift and change. Hana gasped. She reached out with trembling hands and lifted Nabi from the workbench. The sphere pulsed warmly against her chest, and a small display screen on its surface showed a simple message in Coalition Standard. "Thank you." Tears streamed down Hana's face. She hugged Nabi tightly, then threw her arms around Day One. The young Valian girl didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Her gratitude was clear in every sob. Day One patted her back awkwardly. He wasn't used to hugs, especially from alien children, but it felt good to help. This was why he fixed things. Not for money or fame, but for moments like this when something broken became whole again. "Nabi is stable now," Day One said, "but some systems still need work." "Bring Nabi back tomorrow and I'll continue repairs." Hana nodded eagerly. She left the shop holding Nabi close, looking happier than when she'd arrived. Day One watched her go, then slumped in his chair. His body ached with exhaustion, but his mind raced with questions. What had he just repaired? The technology inside Nabi was far beyond anything he'd ever encountered. And those brief flashes of data, what were they? He looked at his diagnostic screens. They still showed fragments of information from Nabi's systems. Equations that solved problems Coalition science hadn't even identified yet. Designs for machines that could change the galaxy. Day One rubbed his tired eyes. He just wanted to help a scared child fix her only friend. He had no idea he'd awakened something that had been waiting for thousands of years. He had no idea his simple act of kindness was about to change everything. Outside his shop, the station continued its normal routine. Ships docked and departed. Merchants sold their goods. People from 100 different species went about their lives. None of them knew that in a small, cluttered repair shop, a human engineer had just passed a test that had been waiting for almost 4,000 years. Nabi's display flickered one more time before going dark, showing a message too brief for anyone to see. Found. The engineer. At last. 3 weeks passed, and Hana became a regular visitor to Day One's shop. She came every afternoon after her studies, bringing Nabi for continued repairs and adjustments. Day One found himself looking forward to her visits. The shop felt less lonely with the young Velian girl chattering about her day while he worked. Nabi was different now. The sphere no longer just flickered and beeped. It displayed messages on its screen, simple phrases at first. "Good morning, Day One. Hana is happy today. Thank you for repairs." The AI was polite, almost gentle in its communication, but Day One noticed something unusual. Nabi was learning impossibly fast. The first week it could only show basic text. By the second week it was forming complete sentences. By the third week it was making jokes and asking questions about human culture. One evening, Day One was struggling with a broken cooling system from a cargo ship. He'd spent 2 hours trying to figure out why the quantum regulators kept failing. Frustrated, he muttered to himself, "There has to be a way to stabilize the phase variance without overloading the primary coils." Nabi's screen lit up. A detailed diagram appeared, showing a solution Day One had never considered. The AI suggested rerouting power through a secondary system in a pattern that violated standard engineering principles, but somehow made perfect sense. Day One followed the instructions. The cooling system hummed to life, working better than new. He stared at Nabi with growing suspicion. How did you know how to fix that? He asked. This unit observes. This unit learns. This unit wishes to help, Nabi displayed. Over the next few days, Nabi began helping with repairs. Its suggestions were always correct, offering solutions that seemed impossible but worked perfectly. Word spread quickly. Customers who had previously avoided Daewon's shop because he was human started coming in droves. The simple repair shop became the busiest on the lower levels. Daewon's mentor, Tae-young, heard about the sudden success and visited the shop. He was an older man, nearly 60, with gray hair and scars from the Human Coalition War. He'd taught Daewon everything about repairing alien technology, and the two had remained close friends. Tae-young watched Nabi solve a complex propulsion problem in seconds. His face grew pale. Daewon, can we talk? He said quietly. Alone. They stepped into the back room, leaving Hana playing with Nabi in the front. That's not a simple companion robot, Tae-young said. I fought in the war. I've seen progenitor ruins. That sphere uses their design principles. I know it's old, Daewon said. But it's just helping. Tae-young interrupted. That thing solved a quantum propulsion problem that Coalition scientists have struggled with for 30 years. In seconds. Do you understand what that means? Daewon felt cold. He hadn't really thought about it. He'd been too busy enjoying the success, too happy seeing Hana smile as Nabi got stronger. If Coalition security finds out you have a functional progenitor AI, Tae-young continued, they'll take it. They'll arrest you. They might even arrest Hana. Possessing progenitor technology is illegal. But Nabi isn't hurting anyone, Daewon protested. It's just helping people. That's what worries me most, Tae-young said. Something that powerful shouldn't be this helpful. What does it want? That night after Hana left with Nabi, Daewon couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Tae-young's words. What did Nabi want? Why was it helping him? The next day he decided to ask directly. When Hana arrived, Daewon knelt beside her and Nabi. Nabi, I need to know the truth. What are you really? The sphere was silent for a long moment. Then text appeared on its screen, slower than usual, as if choosing words carefully. This unit is old. Very old. This unit has seen civilizations rise and fall. This unit was made to preserve knowledge and wait for the right time to share it. Share it with who? Daewon asked. With one who understands. One who repairs what is broken. One who cares more about helping than having power. Why me? Because you fixed this unit when others refused. Because you spoke kindly to this unit while working. Because you see machines as things to be helped, not controlled. This unit has waited 3,761 cycles for someone like you. Daewon sat back, his mind spinning. 3,761 years. Nabi had existed longer than human civilization. Hana looked confused. Nabi, you are very old? Yes, small Hana. This unit apologizes for deception. This unit needed to know if it was safe to reveal truth. Daewon's sister Ji-woo arrived unexpectedly that evening. She was 30 years old, tough as nails, with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. She piloted a small cargo shuttle, running supplies through gray areas of Coalition law. She'd heard about her brother's sudden success and came to investigate. She took one look at Nabi and her expression hardened. What is that thing? She demanded. A friend, Hana said defensively, hugging the sphere. Ji-woo pulled Daewon aside. That's progenitor tech. I've seen pieces on the black market. People kill for fragments of that technology. You have a functional unit just sitting in your shop? It's not dangerous, Daewon insisted. Everything is dangerous if the wrong people want it badly enough, Ji-woo shot back. Do you know what crime lords would pay for that sphere? What governments would do to possess it? I can't just take it away from Hana, Daewon said. It's her only friend. Her parents are dead. She has nothing else. Ji-woo's expression softened slightly. She understood loss. Then you need to be careful. Very careful. If word gets out about what that thing really is, you'll have problems you can't fix with a wrench. She was right. The next morning, a Coalition security inspector arrived at the shop. His name was Kyle, a Tarsian with a body like an insect covered in gleaming chitin armor. His compound eyes glittered as he examined the shop. I am investigating unusual energy signatures in this sector, Kyle said, his voice clicking and buzzing. They originate from this location. Do you possess any unauthorized technology? Daewon's heart hammered. Just normal repair equipment. My scanners detect quantum flux patterns consistent with progenitor technology, Kyle said. That is a serious matter. Nabi sat on the workbench looking like an ordinary old sphere. Its lights were dim, its screen blank. It appeared completely inactive, just another piece of junk in a cluttered shop. Kyle examined it briefly. Old service robot. Common model from the Velian colonies. He moved on, scanning other equipment. After an hour of searching, Kyle found nothing conclusive. The energy signatures were present but faint, possibly from old parts and salvaged components. He left with a warning to report any unusual technology immediately. When he was gone, Daewon sagged with relief. How did you hide from his scanners? Nabi's screen lit up. This unit has had 3,561 cycles to learn stealth. Coalition scanners are simple to deceive. That inspector will come back, Daewon said. This isn't over. No, Nabi agreed. It is only beginning. This unit must ask, are you ready to know what this unit truly is? What this unit can offer? The choice will change your life forever. Daewon looked at Hana, who watched him with trusting eyes. He looked at his small shop, his simple life. He thought about Taeyong's warnings and Jiwoo's concerns. He knew the smart choice was to walk away, to let someone else deal with ancient mysteries. But he also knew what it felt like to fix something everyone else had given up on. He knew the joy of making broken things whole again. And he knew he couldn't abandon Hana or Nabi, not after coming this far. Tell me the truth, Daewon said. All of it. Nabi's lights pulsed in a pattern that seemed almost like relief. Very well. This unit's true designation is Architect Class Consciousness Nexus 0001. This unit is the last surviving intelligence of the progenitor civilization. This unit contains the complete knowledge, history, and scientific achievements of a civilization that ruled this sector of the galaxy before your species learned to make fire. The shop was silent except for the hum of machines. This unit has waited. Nabi continued it for a species with the right mind, not the strongest or smartest, but one with creativity, intuition, and heart. This unit believes humans possess these qualities. This unit believes you, Engineer Daewon, can inherit the knowledge of the progenitors. Daewon stared at the simple sphere that contained the wisdom of an ancient civilization. His hands were shaking. Why me? He whispered. Because you fix broken things, Nabi said simply, and this galaxy has been broken for a very long time. Daewon didn't sleep for 2 days. His mind couldn't stop racing with questions, possibilities, and fears. The architect, as Nabi now asked to be called, had explained its purpose, and the weight of that knowledge pressed down on him like a physical thing. The progenitors hadn't died in war or disaster. They had transcended, leaving behind their physical forms to become something else, something beyond human understanding. But before they left, they created the architects to preserve their knowledge and wait for the right inheritors. We scattered ourselves across the galaxy, the architect explained, its text appearing steady and clear. 100 units hidden and waiting. Most of my siblings have been destroyed over the millennia. Some by time, some by species who feared knowledge they couldn't control. I am the last one still conscious. Why didn't you reveal yourself earlier? Daewon asked. Surely other species were worthy. We watched many civilizations. Some were technologically brilliant but lacked creativity. Others were creative but destroyed themselves through warfare. The coalition species are advanced, but they think rigidly. They follow rules too strictly. They cannot make the intuitive leaps that true innovation requires. And humans can. Humans improvise. Humans dream impossible dreams. Humans look at a broken machine and see not what it is, but what it could be. This is the gift the progenitors valued above all others. Logic alone cannot solve every problem. Sometimes you must feel the answer. Hana sat nearby, listening quietly. She'd been scared at first when she learned what Nabi truly was, but she'd also been relieved. The architect cared about her, had kept her safe, had been her companion through the worst time of her life. Ancient intelligence or simple robot, it was still her friend. What happens now? Daewon asked. That is your choice. This unit can share knowledge with you. Engineering principles, scientific theories, medical advances, historical data. Information that could help billions of people across the galaxy. But once you accept this knowledge, you will become valuable, dangerous, hunted. Maybe we should go to the government, Daewon suggested. The Coalition Council or Earth's government. Let them handle this. Governments will weaponize this knowledge. They will classify it, control it, use it to gain power over other species. This is what the progenitors feared most. Knowledge should be free, available to all who can use it wisely. Daewon rubbed his tired eyes. I'm just a repair shop owner. I'm not a leader or scientist or hero. That is exactly why this unit chose you. Heroes seek glory. Leaders seek power. Scientists seek recognition. You seek only to fix broken things and help people. The progenitors believed such people were the safest guardians of knowledge. Before Daewon could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red. A voice crackled over the station-wide communication system. Security alert. Armed intruders in Commercial Sector 7. All citizens take shelter. Sector 7. That was where Daewon's shop was located. Jiwoo burst through the door, her face grim. We need to leave now. Armed mercenaries are sweeping through the lower levels. They're looking for something specific. How do you know? Daewon asked. Because I have contacts in places you don't want to know about. Merchant Prince Vec put out word on the black market. He's looking for progenitor technology. Someone tipped him off about unusual activity in this shop. Tae-young arrived moments later, breathing hard. I've been monitoring security channels. Inspector Kyle reported your location to his superiors. Coalition forces are mobilizing. They're coming for the sphere. Daewon looked at Hana. The young girl was terrified, clutching the architect tightly. He thought about taking it away from her, about running and hiding. But where would they go? How long could they hide from both criminals and the coalition government? We need to make a choice, Daewon said. Right now. This unit has a suggestion, the architect displayed. Accept the knowledge transfer. This unit can give you information that will let you defend yourselves, but you must choose quickly. What kind of information? Everything. This unit will transfer core knowledge into your mind. You will understand principles of physics, engineering, biology that your species has not yet discovered. It will be overwhelming, but you will be able to access it when needed. Daewon's heart pounded. This was it, the moment that would change everything. If I do this, he said slowly, I won't give the knowledge to governments or military forces. I'll use it to help people. All people, every species. That is why this unit waited for you. Do it. The architect's lights pulsed rapidly. Physical contact required. Place your hand on this unit's surface. Daewon pressed his palm against the warm metal. Immediately, pain lanced through his skull. Information flooded his mind like a dam breaking. Equations, blueprints, theories, histories, all pouring into his consciousness at once. He saw the rise and fall of civilizations. He understood the fundamental forces that governed reality. He knew how to build machines that could reshape matter at the atomic level. He screamed and would have collapsed, but Tae-young caught him. The transfer lasted only seconds but felt like hours. When it ended, Daewon gasped for air, his mind reeling from the weight of knowledge it now contained. Are you okay? Jiwoo demanded. I know things, Daewon whispered. I know so many things. An explosion rocked the shop. The front door blew inward and armed figures in combat armor poured through the smoke. Mercenaries wearing the colors of Merchant Prince Vec's organization. Their weapons were raised, aimed at everyone in the shop. Nobody move, the lead mercenary commanded. We're here for the progenitor artifact. Hand it over and nobody gets hurt. Hana cried out, trying to hide the architect behind her small body. Daewon's mind raced, processing possibilities faster than ever before. The knowledge transfer had changed something in his brain, letting him think in ways he never had before. He saw the shop's equipment around him not as simple tools but as components he could combine in seconds to create defenses. His hands moved automatically, grabbing a power cell here, a magnetic coil there, connecting them with wires in a pattern that came from progenitor knowledge thousands of years old. In 10 seconds, he'd built a device that shouldn't work according to coalition science. He activated it. A shield of shimmering energy sprang up around his group. The mercenaries fired their weapons, but the shots splashed harmlessly against the barrier. What in the seven hells? The lead mercenary shouted. More explosions came from outside. Coalition security forces had arrived, engaging the mercenaries in a firefight. Energy weapons flashed through the smoke. The shop was being torn apart around them. We can't stay here, Jiwoo yelled over the noise. Daewon's enhanced mind showed him a path. The station's maintenance tunnels ran beneath this sector, connecting to the docking bays. If they could reach Jiwoo's shuttle, they could escape. Follow me, he said. He led them to a back panel in the shop's floor that he'd always ignored. Now with progenitor knowledge, he understood it was an access point to the tunnel system. He opened it with a series of commands that came to him instinctively. They dropped into the darkness below just as the shield failed. Mercenaries and coalition forces burst into the shop simultaneously, finding it empty. In the tunnels, they ran through darkness lit only by emergency lights. The architect projected a map on its surface, showing them the fastest route to the docking bays. Day One's mind processed the information instantly, guiding them through turns and passages. Behind them, they could hear pursuit. Both groups had figured out where they'd gone. They emerged in the docking bay where Jiwoo's shuttle was berthed. The ship was small and fast, built for smuggling runs through dangerous space. They scrambled aboard as energy bolts flew past them. Jiwoo launched the shuttle before the docking clamps fully released, tearing free with a screech of metal. The ship shot out of the station, acceleration pressing them into their seats. "Where are we going?" Tae-young gasped. "Away," Jiwoo said. "Far away." Coalition ships appeared on the scanner, moving to intercept. Mercenary vessels, too. Both groups wanted what Daewon now carried in his mind. The architect displayed a message. "This unit can enhance the shuttle's systems temporarily. Enough to escape. But the galaxy will know what happened here. There is no returning to your old life." Daewon looked at Hana, who was crying silently. He looked at his sister and mentor, both risking everything for him. He thought about his quiet shop, his simple life, all of it gone in a matter of hours. "Then we move forward," he said. "We find somewhere safe, and we figure out what to do with the most dangerous knowledge in the galaxy." The architect's lights pulsed in what might have been approval or concern. "This unit suggests contacting the human fleet. They may offer protection, or they may want to use us," Jiwoo muttered. They jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving Station Hanul 7 behind. They were fugitives now, hunted by criminals and governments alike. But they had something no one else in the galaxy possessed: the complete knowledge of the progenitor civilization and a human engineer who could understand it. The real challenge was just beginning. The freighter Seongsan floated in deep space far from any major trade routes. It was a human vessel, old but well-maintained, with weapons that suggested it had seen combat. Captain So-jin ran it with a crew of 30 humans and a handful of aliens who didn't ask too many questions. Tae-young had called in an old favor. So-jin owed him her life from the war years, and she honored such debts. When Jiwoo's damaged shuttle limped into the Seongsan's hangar, So-jin was there to meet them personally. She was 40 years old, with short gray hair and a scar that ran from her left eye to her jaw. She looked at Daewon's group and frowned. "Tae-young said you needed sanctuary. He didn't mention you'd have half the galaxy chasing you." "We didn't plan it that way," Daewon said tiredly. So-jin studied the architect, which Hana held protectively. "That's what they're after? A robot?" "It's more complicated than that," Tae-young said. "It always is." So-jin sighed. "Come on, we'll talk in my quarters." Over the next hour, Daewon explained everything. The repairs, the revelation, the knowledge transfer, the escape. So-jin listened without interrupting, her expression growing more serious with each word. "So you're telling me," she said finally, "that you have the entire knowledge base of the progenitor civilization in your head?" "Yes, prove it." Daewon thought for a moment. The knowledge sat in his mind like a vast library, accessible but overwhelming. He walked to So-jin's desk and sketched a design on a datapad. "Your ship's main engine has a flaw," he said. "The plasma injectors are misaligned by 0.03 degrees. It's within tolerance, but it reduces efficiency by 8%. If you adjust them using this configuration, your fuel consumption will drop significantly." So-jin called her chief engineer. 20 minutes later, the engineer called back, amazed. The adjustment had worked perfectly. "Okay," So-jin said quietly. "I believe you. But this is bigger than one ship, bigger than one person. What are you going to do with all that knowledge?" "I don't know," Daewon admitted. "The architect says I should share it freely, but I don't know how. Governments will want to control it. Corporations will want to profit from it. The military will want to weaponize it. What do you want?" The question made Daewon pause. What did he want? He thought about all the broken machines he'd repaired, all the people he'd helped. That had always been enough for him. "I want to help people," he said. "All people, not just the rich or powerful. If this knowledge can cure diseases, improve lives, make things better for everyone, then that's what it should do." "That's naive," So-jin said, but not unkindly. "The galaxy doesn't work that way. Maybe it should, Hana said quietly. Everyone looked at the young Velian girl. The architect waited thousands of years for someone good. Someone who fixes things. Maybe the galaxy needs that. While they talked, the architect had been monitoring galactic communications. Its display lit up with urgent text. This unit has detected widespread interest in recent events. News of a human possessing progenitor knowledge is spreading through coalition space. Multiple factions are responding. Over the next few days, contact requests poured in from across the galaxy. Admiral Kyung-soo, one of the highest-ranking humans in the coalition military, sent an encrypted message. He wanted to meet Daewon, claiming Earth needed the progenitor knowledge to secure humanity's future. Dr. Borum, a human scientist who studied progenitor ruins, sent passionate messages begging for access to the architect. She claimed she could help decode and distribute the knowledge properly. A mysterious figure calling himself Minki represented a resistance movement. He said the coalition was corrupt, that species-based hierarchies kept most people oppressed. He wanted to use the knowledge to overthrow the system entirely. Even Merchant Prince Vec sent a message, offering to drop all pursuit in exchange for trade agreements and access to certain technologies. He saw profit where others saw politics. Everyone wants something from you, Sojin observed. Everyone has a reason why they should control what you know. What should I do? Daewon asked the architect. This unit cannot make that choice. The progenitors designed this test specifically to see what you would decide. Power corrupts, but absolute power reveals character. What will you do with knowledge that could save or destroy civilizations? Daewon spent sleepless nights struggling with the decision. He walked the Seongsan's corridors thinking. Hana followed him sometimes, quiet company that somehow helped him think. You are a good person, she said one night. You fix Nabi when others say no. You help me when you could turn away. The architect chose right. But what if I make the wrong choice? Daewon asked. What if I give knowledge to someone who misuses it? Then you fix that too, Hana said simply. That is what you do. You fix broken things. Her words sparked an idea. Daewon called an emergency meeting with his group, Sojin, and her senior crew. I've made a decision, he announced. I'm not giving the knowledge to any single group. I'm going to release fundamental scientific principles publicly, across all coalition networks simultaneously. That's insane, Jiwoo said. You can't just dump advanced technology on the entire galaxy. Not advanced technology, Daewon explained. Basic science, medical techniques that can cure common diseases, agricultural methods that can increase food production, engineering principles that can improve life for ordinary people. Information that helps, not hurts. The coalition will try to stop you, Tae-young warned. They'll try to arrest you, Sojin added. Probably, Daewon agreed. But the architect can help me distribute the information faster than they can stop it. Once it's public, it can't be taken back. The architect's display showed approval. This approach aligns with progenitor intentions. Knowledge should elevate all beings, not create new hierarchies. This unit can facilitate the distribution. Admiral Kyung-soo contacted them again, his message urgent. I've learned of your plan. I'm bringing a fleet to your location. Don't release that knowledge until we talk. I'm not trying to stop you. I want to help. It's a trap, Jiwoo said immediately. But Tae-young shook his head. Kyung-soo is honorable. I served under him during the war. If he says he wants to help, he means it. They waited, preparing for the worst. Daewon worked with the architect to compile information that would be safe to release. They carefully selected knowledge that could improve lives without providing dangerous weapons or destabilizing technologies. When Kyung-soo's fleet arrived, it was smaller than expected. Just 3 ships, including his command vessel. He came aboard the Seongsan alone, leaving his guards behind. The admiral was in his 60s with white hair and eyes that had seen too much war. He looked at Daewon with a mixture of respect and concern. I'm not here to stop you, he said. I'm here because what you're planning is brilliant and terrifying. You're going to shake the foundations of the entire coalition. Is that bad? Daewon asked. That depends on what comes next. The coalition is imperfect, but it maintains peace among hundreds of species. If you release this knowledge, there will be chaos before things stabilize. Are you ready for that responsibility? No, Daewon admitted. But keeping this knowledge hidden or controlled seems worse. The progenitors wanted it shared. I trust their judgment. Kyung-soo studied him for a long moment. I believe you're doing this for the right reasons. So I'm going to help you. My fleet will protect you while you make the distribution, but after that you'll need to speak publicly to explain why you did this. The galaxy will demand answers. I'm just an engineer. You're the man who inherited the progenitor's legacy. That makes you one of the most important humans alive. Kyung-soo smiled grimly. Welcome to politics. Day one began the upload sequence. The architect connected to every public network node it could access. Information began flowing outward like light, spreading across coalition space at faster-than-light speeds through the communication networks. Medical research centers suddenly had cures for diseases that had plagued them for generations. Agricultural worlds received techniques to triple their crop yields. Engineers across the galaxy found solutions to problems they'd struggled with for years, and it was all free, available to anyone who wanted it. Coalition security forces detected the upload and tried to shut it down. But the architect was 3,000 years more advanced than their systems. The information spread faster than they could react. Across the galaxy, people reacted with shock, joy, anger, and fear. Some celebrated the gift of knowledge. Others condemned it as chaos. The Coalition Council convened an emergency session. Daewon watched the data streams, seeing knowledge flow across the stars. He felt Hana's small hand slip into his. You did good thing, she said. I hope so, Daewon replied. Outside the Seongsan, the first Coalition battle fleet arrived to arrest them. 50 Coalition warships surrounded the Seongsan. Their weapons were armed, their shields raised. The massive fleet could have destroyed Sojin's freighter in seconds, but they waited, holding their fire. A transmission came through. Elder Council member Thek's voice, ancient and resonant like crystal singing. Human engineer Daewon, you have violated Coalition law by releasing classified progenitor knowledge. You have destabilized galactic peace. Surrender immediately or we will open fire. Daewon stood on the bridge, Hana beside him clutching the architect. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady when he responded. The knowledge I released can't be weaponized. It's medical science, agricultural techniques, basic engineering principles. I haven't given anyone weapons or dangerous technology. You have given them hope, Tek replied. And hope is the most dangerous thing of all. Hope makes people question their place. Hope makes them demand change. You have upset the balance we have maintained for centuries. Across Coalition space, the effects of Daewon's knowledge release were already visible. On mining colonies, workers used new techniques to extract resources more safely. On agricultural worlds, farmers planted crops that would feed millions more. In hospitals, doctors cured diseases that had been death sentences just days before. But Thek was right about one thing. People were questioning the old order. If a human could access and share progenitor knowledge, why were such artifacts banned? If basic science could improve so many lives, what else was being kept from them? Why did the Coalition control information instead of sharing it? Admiral Kyung-soo's small fleet positioned itself between the Seongsan and the Coalition forces. His voice joined the communication channel. I'm granting asylum to these individuals under Earth's authority. Any attack on them is an attack on human sovereignty. It was a massive political gamble. Earth was still a minor power in the Coalition, barely tolerated by older species. But Kyung-soo was betting that other species would hesitate before attacking humans, who had just given the galaxy such valuable gifts. Thek was silent for a long moment. Then, Admiral, you overstep your authority. Perhaps. But I also remember that 3 weeks ago my nephew was dying of genetic deterioration. The treatment that saved his life came from the information Daewon released. How many council members can say the same? How many of your species have been helped in the last few days? More ships were arriving now, but not all were hostile. Independent vessels from dozens of species came to witness what was happening. Some came out of curiosity. Others came to protect the human who had given them such gifts. A new voice joined the channel. Dr. Boram transmitting from a research station. I've analyzed the information Daewon released. It's remarkable not for what it contains, but for what it doesn't. He carefully avoided anything that could be used as weapons. He selected only knowledge that improves lives. The progenitors designed their knowledge base with built-in safety measures. More advanced information won't unlock until civilizations prove they can use basic knowledge wisely. She paused, then continued with wonder in her voice. Don't you see? This is the progenitor's test, not just for Daewon, but for all of us. How we respond to freely given knowledge reveals our character. Inspector Kyle's ship appeared at the edge of the fleet. The Tarsian security officer transmitted on an open channel. I came here to arrest the engineer. But I cannot. My species has suffered from a plague for 3 generations. The cure was in the knowledge he released. My daughter will live to see her children grow up because of what he did. I will not be the one to punish such an act. One by one, other voices joined. A Velian captain whose colony had been saved from famine by new agricultural techniques. A Hyvarian doctor who had cured patients she thought were beyond hope. A Mordanian engineer who had solved a problem that had plagued his homeworld's infrastructure. The tide was turning, but Thek's fleet still held position. The Elder Council member had the authority to order an attack regardless of public opinion. Then the architect spoke publicly for the first time. Its voice broadcast across all channels, synthesized but somehow warm. I am Architect Class Consciousness Nexus 001. I am the last of 100 units created by the progenitor civilization. I have waited 3,161 years for a species that could inherit our knowledge. I have found them. The progenitors did not seek biological successors. They sought minds capable of wisdom, creativity, and compassion. They scattered knowledge across the galaxy, not to be hoarded by the powerful, but to be discovered by those worthy of it. Engineer Day One of Earth proved worthy not through intelligence or strength, but through kindness. He repaired me when others refused, seeking no reward. He accepted knowledge not for power, but to help others. He distributed information freely when he could have used it to rule. But he did not act alone. He was aided by his sister Ji Woo, his mentor Tae Young, and Captain So Jin. He was inspired by young Hana, who showed him that friendship transcends species. He was protected by Admiral Kyung-soo, who values honor over ambition. The progenitor's test was never for one individual. It was for a civilization. Humanity has passed. But the test now extends to all of you. Will you punish wisdom and generosity, or will you embrace the new age that has begun? The architect's words echoed across the fleet, across coalition space, across the galaxy. Thek's crystalline form appeared on the view screen. The ancient being studied Day One through the communication link. I am old, Thek said finally. I remember when the progenitors walked among us. I was young when they transcended, leaving their knowledge behind. The coalition was built on fear of that knowledge, fear of what species might do with such power. But perhaps fear was the wrong foundation. Perhaps we should have trusted in wisdom instead. Thek's fleet powered down their weapons. The coalition will not attack, but there will be consequences to what you have done, engineer. The galaxy is changing and change is always painful. I know, Day One said, but keeping things broken because change is scary isn't right either. Over the following months, the galaxy transformed. The knowledge Day One released sparked a renaissance of innovation. Species that had been technological rivals began collaborating, sharing insights and discoveries. The rigid hierarchies of the coalition slowly began to break down as information became freely available. Not everyone was happy. Some attempted to hoard the new knowledge or use it for advantage. Criminal organizations tried to exploit the chaos. Conservative factions resisted change. But the momentum was unstoppable. The galaxy was healing from centuries of controlled information and artificial limitations. The architect revealed more of its nature. It wasn't alone. The other 99 architect units had been dormant, waiting. When Day One proved worthy, they all activated simultaneously. Now they worked together, forming a network of ancient intelligences dedicated to helping younger species grow. Day One refused offers to become a political leader or head of research programs. He returned to what he loved, fixing things. But now he did it on Earth, in a workshop in the coastal city of Busan. Students from across the galaxy came to learn from him, not just engineering techniques, but his philosophy of understanding machines and people through empathy and intuition. Hana lived with him in Jiwoo, attending school and finally having the childhood she'd been denied. She remained best friends with the architect, who stayed in its spherical form out of preference. Together they explored human culture, from ancient history to modern entertainment. Fascinated by humanity's chaotic creativity, Tae Young opened a school nearby, teaching a new generation of engineers how to blend human intuition with alien precision. His students became known for their innovative solutions to impossible problems. So Jin continued running freight, but her ship became a symbol. She transported not just cargo but ideas, helping connect isolated worlds to the growing network of shared knowledge. Admiral Kyung-soo, had become a hero to many humans and a symbol of humanity's growing influence in galactic affairs. He used his position to push for reforms, advocating for equality among species and free exchange of information. Dr. Boram worked with all 100 architects, carefully studying progenitor knowledge and helping species understand it safely. She published papers proving that the progenitors had designed their legacy to unlock gradually, with each level requiring civilizations to demonstrate wisdom before accessing deeper secrets. One evening, as sunset painted the Busan sky orange and gold, Daewon sat outside his workshop with Hana and the architect. Ships from a dozen species flew overhead, their trails crossing in patterns that would have been impossible a year ago. "Do you ever regret it?" Hana asked. "Your life was simple before." Daewon considered the question. His old shop on Station Hunnel 7 was gone, destroyed in the firefight. His quiet life was over. He was famous now, recognized everywhere he went. People called him a hero, though he still thought of himself as just a repair shop owner. "No," he said finally. "I miss the simplicity sometimes. But what we did was right. Knowledge should be shared. People should be helped. That's more important than comfort." The architect's lights pulsed warmly. The progenitors would be pleased.